Alafia family, power is ultimate. Abaro, Aboye, Abosheshe. My name is Baba Kwofi KhAn. I am the head instructor and founder of the African Traditional Religious Academy. I am the head Babalao and founder of the Okaran Temple, Ile, Ohio. And I am the head herbalist at KwofiKhAn.com, where we teach people about health and everything spiritual. Today, I want to break down the simplicity of the color blue. I want to talk about the power of the color blue, right? Because it's such a powerful energy. So on the basic level, we know that blue represents calamity, calming the body, calming the mind. It brings peace to us, right? We can use it as a representation of cooling, not only cooling the temperatures, but cooling the spiritual state. Okay? Now, in our cultures, you will see us use the terms or use the tool of haint blue. Now, a haint, for a lack of a better term, is an evil spirit, a demon, a lower vibration. You will see in the Louisiana region, but all over the African American cultures, that you will see them sometimes paint the house haint blue. They might paint the door blue. They might paint the shutters around the window blue. This was to keep these spirits away from the house. You will also see us utilize what we call a bottle tree. Now, a bottle tree was a beautiful decorated tree, and we had an understanding that spirits did not like water. They did not like the color blue. So as a tree would attract bad spirits and then trap them inside of the bottle, and they couldn't get back outside of the bottle. So this was the understanding of the bottle tree. Okay? Now, in our cultures as well, we speak about Yemoja. And who do we say Yemoja was for the human body? We said Yemoja was the womb. And why do we call her the womb? It's because the womb of the woman is the ocean of the body. Yemoja can also be represented as the scrotum of the man as well. But when it comes to the womb, we're speaking about the water inside of the body. Okay? So we also see that Hoodoo and Santeria and other African American ATRs compare Yemoja to the Virgin Mary. And what do we see the Virgin Mary usually dressed up as? Right? What is her cloak usually? What is her little robe or her scarf usually the color of? It's usually blue. And this was the representation of the motherhood, the womb. Okay? So we also use the tool of bluing, right? Blue anel. Some people use this as baths. They mix it in with camphor and put it in the baths and different things like that. We don't really do that in our lineage, but we do use it as floor washes. We do use it as door and window and mirror washes as well. And we will add it to other certain rituals that, may arise that we may need. But going back about the Virgin Mary, right? Speaking about the biblical times, the Bible mentions the color blue 51 times. And in the Bible, it is represented as a royal color, a color of wealth, okay? And during those biblical times, any paintings, any art that they were using that had the color blue, they were usually crushing down what we call the crystal that we call lapis lazuli. So anything that they ended up painting blue was a more spiritual understanding, because they wanted those benefits of that crystal, of that gem, of that stone, to be a part of the art as well. Okay? So going back to the protectional energy of the color blue, when we speak about the haint blue, or we speaking about the bottle tree, when we speak about the evil eye in our culture as well, the blue and white pendant that we have to keep bad energies away. This is that motherhood energy still present, right? The protectional energy. When your mother is around, when your mother is taking care of business for you, you're a little bit more calm. You have a little bit more serenity to thyself. So this was the same protectional energy that was sought out after as we look for the bottle tree or the evil eye, right? Or even the crystals like lapis lazuli. So when we start talking about what indigo is, right? Because you have indigo washes. Anyone who knows about our culture know we use those indigo washes. That blue is a representation from the plant and the herb in general, the indigo plant that we use for 6,000 years. The leaves were fermented, and they took that color, or they took those plant benefits from that plant and used it as protection. They used it as a guardian. They used it as a shield against bad spirits. Now, also, just to speak about herbs, we speak about the blue lotus. A lot of people, many people up and down, following the trend, trying to seek out the blue lotus. And why are they trying to seek out the blue lotus? For many different benefits, but for one is to balance the chakras, to get into a higher communication, and to find a, let's just say, a balance, right? A balance to the spiritual state. So sometimes people are using it for, people are even smoking the herb, right? People are using it as in teas during meditation, trying to unlock or unblock the third eye, or trying to use it as communicational herbs with higher spirits or deities. This goes back to the understanding of the throat chakra, right? We say the throat chakra is blue. So when you're engaging in blue herbs, you're usually synchronized to the throat chakra. But going back to saying that the blue lotus was being used in a meditational way, or let's just say a spiritual or ritualistic way to be able to communicate with spirits. And we're speaking about communication. And the color blue is represented as the chakra, as the throat chakra, right? You follow where I'm going? What color is Facebook? The biggest community platform there is. What color is the icon for Facebook? When you're out on the street and you find a phone booth, for those who remember phone booths, what color was the P for the phone? When you're looking in the usually, or in the beginning of cellular times, what color was the phone app icon? What color, for the people who have iPhones, what color is the messages? Right? We always talk about this blue box, this blue message. Oh, I ain't trying to message you unless your box is blue. Because the blue is a communicational vibration. It reminds us, and it tells us subconsciously that we can have a higher level of communication if this frequency of the tone of blue is around. Now, ritualistically, that there was different type of rituals or spells put on to the color blue. What is the most worn trousers or breeches or pair of pants that's out there, right? Blue jeans. So we have to understand that this blue is always around. It's always present. We talk about the sky and the ocean being mass. This is where the infinite energy of the color blue comes from this infinite sky, from the infinite oceans. The depth of the ocean, right, is infinite. Just like the depth of the frequency of the color blue and what it can do for us is infinite. Blue is one of the highest frequencies. Just remember about the flame. When you're dealing with fire, what is the highest temperature point of the flame? What is the heart? What is the soul of the flame? We usually represent it as orange and red, but when it comes to the soul of the flame, when it comes to the hottest or the most highest frequency of this fire, it is going to be the color blue. In dreams, when you experience the color blue in the dream state, in the dream realm, this could be telling you a multiple plethora of different things. It could be telling you that you need honesty. It could be telling you to reach for your dreams. It could be telling you to build communication. It can be telling you that inner peace is approaching. You need to take the reality environment that you're around and build the foundation around that frequency. Ashe? So we have to understand the frequency of the color blue. In Sanskrit times, we speak about Shiva. We speak about Krishna, and they speak about the death, right? The darkness, right, of the color blue. When you get the blue and you talk about the Sanskrit, we talk about Nila, right? Nila. And when they speak about this, they're speaking about a darkness. They're speaking about the depth, the deepness, the infinite pursuit of spirituality, of peace, of tranquility, of serenity, of calamity. So we have to understand how to use these certain frequencies and how powerful a simple color for us can be. Okay? So faith that you have, retained some of this in your notes, faith that you have already knew some of this and you have been working with these frequencies or these crystals or these color tones or these herbs. And we have to remember the spiritual advancement. Everything is connected. So you just can't be meditating and think it's going to work. You can't just be drinking the teas and think it's going to work. We have to make it a full circle and connect all of the information. I always tell us to revert back to ourselves as when we were children. And sometimes you have to do that in the spiritual world too. Revert back to the simple information, the known information. Go back over the information you learned when you were in preschool spiritual, the spiritual pursuit. Okay. So power is ultimate, families. Everybody stay healthy out there. Abaru, Aboye, Asher Bakun.